What has happened to you does not define you. You are not defined by your past. And you're not even defined by your decisions. Now, your past and your decisions, poor or not, they shape you. But the great thing is that you have the ability to choose if that shaping is for the positive or for the negative. You have the autonomy, you have the control to determine how that thing is going to shape you. So I went out for a run, made dinner, made this video, had to start over. But I'm making coffee. It's kind of late, but I work full time, and all these things that I do, like my website, my blog, my books, all that stuff, it's all on the side. So things get pretty full, but I just chug away and do things, and I have a lot of passion for it. It fits within my purpose, so a lot of times it's really with a lot of gratitude that I get this stuff done. So I'm gonna stay up late because there's something I want to watch tonight that's gonna be live. And so I'm gonna have a little bit of coffee because I'm handling it a lot better because my health has improved significantly, and I will share about that another time. But today, what I want to talk to you guys about is how what's happened to you can shape you. And sorry, I'm just thinking because there was something. Oh, here, my collagen. So just so you guys know, let me show you guys. Please. All right, so my coffee, I've switched, and it's expensive, but it's worth it. So I now drink clean coffee. It's tested for pesticides, mold, and other toxins, and I get the dark roast because dark roast is actually less acidic. It's great. I love it. It's so smooth. It's such a smooth coffee. I'm the only one that drinks it in the house. I'm very sensitive to mold, so that's why I got this. My husband has been doing this organic Pete's coffee. I do this every once in a while too, but this one is mine. After I got the cancer out and kind of getting over it, I've noticed that my system just is tolerating things. For example, I couldn't do dairy before, and now I can, so that's pretty cool because there's a lot of things I like. Always organic though. So as you see, the coffee was organic. This is organic. We've eliminated as much plastic as possible because it's kind of impossible nowadays. But like my Keurigs, I used to have these. And now I got the stainless steel ones, so I'll link that for you. And then I got MCT oil in a glass bottle. So this has been great, and I noticed a change for the positive in my bowel habits, and I thought it was some mushrooms that I ate, and then I realized it was when I started adding this. And then collagen, I add too. 1 or 2 scoops a day. Just depends. Collagen has a great effect on me. Best type is something that has type 1 and type 2 collagen. Make sure that it's third-party tested. So this one is a great one that I got. It's non-GMO too. Type 1, type 3, those are the ones that you really want to have. So I'll link that too. And then I just kind of blend it. And I do turbinado sugar, so I don't do sweetener in my coffee. It just tastes weird. I grew up drinking coffee. It's part of Portuguese culture. So to have sweetener in my coffee just tastes like absolutely gross. I cannot stand it. So as I mentioned, I'm still going through stuff, actively going through stuff, and have been through things, some things that I didn't ask for, things that I didn't deserve, things that I did not create, things that I did not choose. There were a lot of consequences of someone else's choices and decisions that I've suffered throughout my life. But then there were also some that were my poor decisions. And in a way, it was my poor decision that allowed myself to have that negative stuff in my life. So I never really liked to share. For those of you who've known me for a while, like, you know that every once in a while I would talk about it, but I really wouldn't share a lot about it. And the reason really stems from fear, because I never wanted to be defined by it. I hate pity. I did not want anyone to look at me as weak. So I didn't really talk about it a lot. And I mean, to the point where a lot of people were like, I would have never guessed, like, you never, blah, blah, blah. And that's, that's a great thing. That hearing that would make me feel great. But part of me knew that I did want to share it. But I didn't, because I was always so afraid of being judged by people, assumptions being made, things like that. But what I've done over the years is heal as much as possible, learn from my past, learn from these situations, learn from these relationships. I've obviously, based on my content, you see, like, my relationship with God has been strengthened over the years. The relationship with myself has been strengthened. I think that was something that I had to work on a lot. I still struggle with trusting myself. Something that I recently realized. I have a really hard time trusting myself. I don't always trust myself. And I think, if I'm being honest, that at times I can worry that I'm being taken advantage of, because I still see some naivety in me. And like, I've spoken about this recently. I've realized that it's hope that I have, and I'd rather have hope than be cynical. I think life is a lot better when you're hopeful. So I'd rather risk it and have hope than to be skeptical and distrusting all the time. And I think that that's something that shaped me, because there was a time I was hopeless, and that was the darkest time in my life. And so instead of allowing that to shape me into a skeptical, cynical, distrusting person, it's actually shaped me into someone filled with compassion and understanding. I am working on being less judgmental and jumping to conclusions, because there are times, if I'm being honest, I notice that I do that. And without having facts or hearing from someone directly, it's a very dangerous place to assume things and to try and judge someone's heart when you really don't know. So I've been working on that. So all I wanted to tell you is that the situation or situations from your past don't define you. That's not who you are. Your bad choice doesn't define you. God defines you. God tells you who you are. Now, those situations do shape you. Your relationships shape you. So the awesome thing about that is that shaping, you get to choose. You get to control. You're the one who gets to determine what that even looks like. the power is in your hands. The control is in your hands. Who do you want to become? When I was a fitness trainer, I used to talk a lot about not having negative goals, having positive goals. So you hear a lot, especially from women, like, oh, I don't want to be like my mom, right? So that's a horrible goal. Because most of the time, women that you hear say, I don't want to be anything like my mom, or if a guy says, I don't want to be anything like my dad, or, you know, if a woman says, I don't want to be anything like my dad, whatever, you know, same thing. They usually are just like them. Like, do you know anyone like that? Do you know anyone where you're like, but you are just like them? It's because the thought is on that negative thing that they don't want to be. They're thinking on, oh, I don't want to this, I don't want to that. Instead of thinking, oh, this is what I want to be. This is where my focus is. Instead, their focus is on what they don't want to be. And you know what happens when you're driving and there's someone walking along the sidewalk and you look at them for too long? You know what happens? Your car starts to go towards that person that you're looking at. You don't mean to, you don't think it's happening, but it does. You want to know why? Because your focus is on that person on the sidewalk. It's not in the road right in front of you. That's why it's so important to look directly in front of you at all times. You can't be looking to the side all the time. And it's the same thing with our direction in life. You need to focus on who you want to be. So if that situation, for example, I can't look and say, I don't want to be naive anymore. Because you know what's going to happen? I'm going to be naive. And I'm talking about being naive in a negative way, because it can be positive in some ways. It can be like childlike. But like if I think that I'm gonna be naive, what I have to think is I want to have wisdom. I want to have wisdom. That's what I want to have. And I'm going to focus on pursuing wisdom. I can't say, oh, I want to, like, for example, there was a time years ago where I had made the decision that I did not want to talk loud anymore. And I've been doing it recently. I'm just going to leave it at that. And like talk aggressively to someone else, even without realizing it. Because in Portuguese culture, in Brazilian culture, that's how, especially couples, that's how they talk to each other. They're so snippy. They're so aggressive, passive aggressive, and they're loud. And even if they're not fighting, it sounds like they're fighting. And I didn't want to be like that. And I put in my head, like, I do not care what my culture is, how I grew up, who my parents are, who my brother is, I don't care. I'm going to be different because I have seen couples who are at peace with each other, and that's how I want to be. And I changed. I don't, like, you could ask my daughters, you can ask both of them. There is like a pre that moment Andrea, and a post that moment Andrea. The way I used to anger before is not the way I anger now. And it is so drastically different. Not because I was focused on, I don't want to be loud, I don't want to be aggressive. It was because I thought, I want to be gentle, I want to be kind, I want to love and be loved. That was my focus. It was a positive goal. So in terms of practicality of how you can apply what I'm saying to your life, by not allowing circumstances and situations to define you, it is to focus on who you want to become and how you want it to shape you. So if in a relationship, let's say you were in an abusive relationship, if you were treated a certain way that you don't like, it's okay to acknowledge that thing. Say, I don't want to be like XYZ. But then you have to come to understand and acknowledge who you do want to be. So if you don't want to be impatient, that can't be your goal. Your goal needs to be, I'm going to be patient because I wish someone had treated me that way. So I'm going to be patient to people because I want to be treated with patience. And it becomes a positive goal. And then everything you do becomes about becoming patient, not just doing patience, but becoming patience. And it becomes who you are, not just something that you do. And then that thing that happened to you now doesn't define you. It actually made you a better person because you learned from it. And you didn't let it kill you. You didn't let it destroy you. You didn't let it turn you into someone that you're not. You let it bring the gold up. You went through the fire for a reason. Why would you go through the fire to come out a worse version of yourself? You deserve so much better. You went through the fire. You have been purified. It is time now for you to uncover who you really are, who you were really created to be. And those situations and those circumstances, like today I share about it unashamedly. You want to know why? Because I want to give people hope. I'm not sharing about it from a place of resentment, hatred, and pain. I'm sharing it from a place of, you know what? This stuff really happens. And you know what? It happened to me. But look, it doesn't define me. It made me a better person. I have grown from it. And I will continue to grow from that and from every situation that occurs in my life. Because this life is a journey and we're learning and we're growing every single day. No one has arrived. No one will arrive. I find that pretty exciting. You are not defined by your past. Whether you made those decisions, whether it happened to you or whether you made the decision that was devastating, it doesn't matter. What matters is now and what you are going to do to help shape your life. How can that situation shape your life? How can that situation shape my life? What did I learn from it? If you go through a negative situation and learn nothing from it, you're doing it wrong. You're doing life wrong. There's always a learning moment in every circumstance, in every situation, in every trial. And when you see that, you begin to appreciate it. There was a time where it was like, there were moments in my life that I would be like, I've never regretted anything. There was one situation in my life when I was a teenager that I was like, if there was one thing I would change, it would be that, because I feel like it kind of led to a sequence of events. And then I left an abusive relationship and that was hard. And, you're like, obviously you don't wish it happened, but I had the conundrum of, well, I have daughters that I absolutely love and I wouldn't trade them for anything. So I needed to reconcile that because I can't regret it and accept them at the same time. Like my mom's like, there's a conundrum, there's a problem here. And I had to realize that it wasn't all bad. It wasn't horrible all the time. And I am who I am and I have what I have. I have the life that I have now because of it. If I hadn't gone through that thing, I wouldn't be who I am now. And while there's a lot of work I recognize that I have to do in my life, I like who I'm becoming. Not always perfect. There's times I mess up. I do stupid things, say stupid things, react stupid ways, as we all do, But I like who I'm becoming, and I want everyone around me to like who they're becoming. And that's kind of what my purpose is and why I wake up excited every single day to help equip and empower people to discover their purpose so they can live their best life, because I'm living my best life. And you know what? If I hadn't gone through what I went through, I would not be living my best life because I wouldn't even know this existed. It's so crazy, but it's amazing. You are not defined by your past. You are not defined by the choices that you made that may have messed something up. That doesn't define you. So you need to let that go, and you need to change your thoughts, and you need to ask yourself, how can it shape me? Who do I want to become? And what did I learn from those things so I can become that person and allow it to shape me? Because then you don't have to let go of it. You don't have to pretend like it didn't happen. And that's what I kind of did. I pretended like it didn't happen. But then you miss out on the beauty of God turning things into good. Because He does. He does. Let Him turn it into good. Don't try to hide it away. Deal with it. Grow from it. Let it shape you. Doesn't define you, but let it shape you. I hope that encourages you today. Thanks for joining me, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.